In this video, we're going to discuss 3 different types of learning strategies and how to incorporate them into learning about biology. And the first one we're going to discuss is elaboration. So what is elaboration? Elaboration is a learning strategy in which target information is expanded by adding meaningful context in which subsequent ideas can be integrated. In simpler terms, it's making connections between new information that you are learning and information that you already know. So we can take details, memories, experiences, past knowledge, imagery, and incorporate all those into learning about new material. So how can we incorporate elaboration into learning about biology or any other topic? Well, there's several different methods that we can use, and the ones that I'm going to discuss are analogy, mnemonic devices, and phrases. We can use analogies to make comparisons or relationships between two ideas. And so one example of creating an analogy would be flamingo is to bird, as grizzly is to bear. We can also use mnemonic devices, which help the brain to better encode and recall information. And one example of this that you might be familiar with is the order of planets and creating a phrase with each first letter of each planet. But we can also use phrases, models, box and arrow diagrams.
For my learning strategy, I had interleaving. So what is interleaving? Interleaving is a type of learning strategy that students mix up their subjects while studying to improve their overall knowledge of all topics that they are taking in school. So for example, this study session, this student is going to study English, math, chemistry, and biology. But instead of kind of studying them all in one blocking, they're going to study bits and pieces from each class that they are taking that year. So then for the next thing, another way to look at it is they're going to study a few things at once to learn an overall more approach to learning. So students will mix up multiple subjects in one study session to just overall improve their learning. So for this one, they're going to kind of split it up into topics 1, 2, and 3, and they're just going to keep focusing on those 1, 2, 3 in topics, but they're going to go from like topic 1 to topic 2 to topic 3 instead of going topic 1 all the way through, then topic 2, then talking about topic 3. So this is more of just kind of taking bits and pieces of all your classes that you take and breaking them down into subcategories and studying those subcategories all throughout the study session. So then another way that I drew an example is kind of taking 3 specific topics and then bringing them down into subcategories and just studying those in your next session. Just another easy way to look at it.
Is concrete examples. Concrete examples is a type of learning strategy when a student is studying abstract concepts and illustrating it with specific examples. As you can see here, it's just like drawing it on your notes. By using concrete examples, you can make the link between the idea you're studying and each example so that you understand how the example applies to the idea. By giving multiple examples with different surface features, will help you as a student understand the underlying abstract idea better than if you just have one example. So by the time exam day comes, you'll be ready for the exam. Now I will show you how to use concrete examples with photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process by which green plants and some other organisms use sunlight to synthesize foods from carbon dioxide and water. Photosynthesis in plants generally involves the green pigment chlorophyll and generates oxygen as a byproduct. You can think of light when you're entering a dark room, turning on the light so the room becomes more alive, just like how plants use light for energy. You can think of oxygen like when humans need it to be able to breathe correctly, just like how plants need oxygen to stay alive. You can think of water like how fish use water as a source of energy to stay alive, and just like how plants use water to be able to grow bigger or taller.
Let's say we're trying to learn about the Calvin cycle, which is the second stage of photosynthesis, in which chemical reactions convert carbon dioxide and other compounds into glucose, which is the food that plants eat. One way in which we might go about this is by using some of the methods of elaboration, such as creating a model which contains imagery as well as details. In the simplified model shown here, we can see that the cycle begins with carbon dioxide from the atmosphere undergoing chemical reactions which are fueled by ATP and NADPH, and these are compounds that contain energy captured from sunlight. This reaction creates the simple sugar called G3P, which goes on to make glucose, the main product of the Calvin cycle. Leftover G3P molecules are recycled to regenerate 3 molecules of RUBP acceptor, and the cycle begins again. So if we're trying to remember what the 4 steps of the Calvin cycle are, we can use a mnemonic device, which is one type of elaboration we've discussed. And the 4 steps of the Calvin cycle are carbon fixation, reduction, carbohydrate formation, and regeneration. And the mnemonic device that I've used is an acrostic in which the first letter of each step forms a phrase. So again, we have carbon fixation, reduction, carbohydrate formation, and regeneration. And so what I've done is cute rabbits, crunch, romaine. And while this may sound silly or nonsensical, it can actually help us to better encode and recall the steps later on.
Lastly, I'm going to talk about how interleaving can be used for photosynthesis. So right now, I'm just breaking up each of the parts into topics. So topic 1 would be like location of where each thing takes place. Topic 2 and topic 3 would be topic 2 being the light reaction, and then topic 3 being the dark cycle. Then for topic 3, I'd break it out into outputs of photosynthesis. And then next would be topic 5, and that would just be like the byproducts, so kind of what goes in between each of the two. And then lastly, for topic 6, I would talk about the inputs that kind of cause photosynthesis. So you have H2O and carbon dioxide, and most importantly, light. Just kind of breaking them down into topics for a student to better comprehend them.